Hello students, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be determining the limiting reagent. And our problem is we have copper reacting with sulfur to form solid copper 1 sulfide. Now, what is the limiting reagent when 50.6 grams of copper reacts with 42.4 grams of sulfur? So we've got this amount of copper and this amount of sulfur, and we want to know which one's going to run out first. Okay. Who's going to be our limiting reagent? Copper or sulfur, okay? The first thing we got to do is write a balanced equation. So we've got copper plus sulfur reacting to form copper sulfide, 1 sulfide. Now, when we write this, it's going to be Cu2S. And let me explain. This is a review from past chapters. So copper is only going to give 1 electron away. And sulfur, in order to satisfy the octet rule, it wants to have 2 electrons, right? Because we know it's part of group 6. We need to have 2 electrons. So it wants to take 2 electrons, but copper's only giving 1. So how many coppers do we need? We need 2. So if we have 2 coppers, they're each going to give 1 electron to sulfur, and sulfur's going to accept those and wants to take them, okay? And our equation's not balanced. We got to add a second copper over here, so now it balances. And our amounts are 50.6 grams of copper and 42.4 grams of sulfur, okay? And we want to know which one is going to run out first, okay? So our moles of copper and sulfur, so what we're going to do first is we've got to convert both of these answers into moles so we can compare them because they're different masses. Copper is much bigger and heavier than sulfur is, okay? Let's write it out down here. So we have 50.6 grams of copper. We set up our picket fence, and we're going to have 42.4 grams of sulfur. Set up our picket fence. Now to find the molar mass for each of these so we can convert them, copper is 63.55 grams of Cu. That cancels per 1 mole of Cu. And sulfur is going to be 32.07. Our grams S cancel, we have 1 mole of S. Now let's punch this into our calculator so we can calculate how many moles we have of each substance. We have 50.6 divided by 63.55, and that is going to give us 0.8. We'll just do 0.8. 0.80 moles of Cu. Okay, and the next one is 42.4 divided by 32.07. That's going to give us 1.32 moles of S. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do is to compare them to each other. So what we're going to do is take one of these. It doesn't matter which one, we're just going to take one. Okay, so copper is the one I want to use. So let's do 0.80 moles of Cu. And we're going to compare it to the mole ratio of copper to sulfur. So if we look here, our coppers to our sulfurs is a 2-to-1 ratio. Okay, so we can write over here 2 moles of copper to 1 mole of sulfur, okay? And we can write that either way, all right? Okay, as in the previous videos. This is just our ratio of copper to sulfur, okay? We're not working with products yet. We're just working with which one's going to run out first in this example, okay? And then because copper's on top, I'm going to put copper on the bottom and put sulfur on top. So we have 2 moles of Cu per every 1 mole of S. Okay, and these will cancel out. And now we're going to figure out how much sulfur we need is going to be reacted with all of the copper. So in this instance, if I was to react all of the copper, how much sulfur would be used up? Which is 0.8 divided by 2, which is equal to 0.4 moles of S. So if I were to use up all of the copper, and in comparison to this ratio, I would have 0.4 moles of sulfur. But how much sulfur do we have? We have 1.32 moles, okay? We almost have a little over 3 times the amount of sulfur that we need, okay? So in this example, sulfur is going to be our excess reagent. Our limiting reagent is going to be copper, okay? Because if we were to use up all the copper, we would only use up this much sulfur. But how much sulfur do we have? We have this much, okay? So what we're doing is we're finding the moles of each of these masses, and then we're making a comparison of one of these to the mole ratio of coppers to sulfurs, okay? To find out that coppers are limiting reagents, okay? Thanks for watching.